Hello, hello, hello there, everyone. So glad to see you here today. If you're joining for the first time, it is Patricia here. My name is Patricia Hayes. I am an executive advisor, career empowerment coach, and authentic networking strategist. And what I do is I serve as the brain behind the brains, whether you are an executive who's working on some special projects, whether you're a professional, lawyers, attorneys, same lawyers, attorneys, doctors, engineers. I'm leaving out some people, I'm sure, but professional women, business executives who need some support in your professional career and how you approach it from a fellow executive who understands. And also, if you are simply needing to up level your professional relationships in a way that's sustainable and that will help you to build a strong career and business, that's what I do. I help folks to leverage their networks in a way that's authentic and purposeful and not slimy. Best part there. So, this is Coffee Time Career Chat, which I love doing. We've been doing Coffee Time Career Chats, my goodness, since spring of 2020. And I am so excited to continue to do this. We host it on Mondays and Wednesdays. On Mondays, it's live with the networking edition. And on Wednesdays, we host a pre-recorded session that's focused on all things career oriented, personal and professional, as they integrate into one, and how you move forward in dealing with your personal and professional life. So we have a series going right now that I am loving, and it is the Redefining Superwoman series. And this week's topic is when Superwoman's cape gets torn. Oh my goodness, let's talk about that. So, and I started this series because of issues that came up earlier in the year that just kept resurfacing. And I'm like, I think this is worth spending some time on and helping people to work through, because that concept of the superwoman and this person who can do all things all the time for all people, which is so worn out, and you think we get tired of trying to overcome it. Well, apparently it's not. So we need to keep doing it. So I literally decided to start a series that we're working through this month that's focused solely on redefining Superwoman and helping women who are goal oriented, who are ambitious, who want to go and do all of the things, but to do it in a way that's sustainable and that doesn't kill them in the end, that doesn't burn them out completely. That's who this is for. So if you're wondering, if you're one of those women, listen in, go back, catch the other versions of it, and get caught up. All right. So today, like I said, we're talking about when Superwoman's cape gets torn. And what do I mean by that? Well, you know what happens when the designated Superwoman, I've been that person, all of a sudden has a mistake or a flaw or something kind of, a breakdown in the systems, right? And people are like, oh my gosh, what's wrong? Something's wrong, because Patricia's not going at 150%. I'm only getting 100%. And you're like, really? Go check out the previous edition where we talked about how to manage boundaries and expectations. Yes. So here's the thing. There are three things we're going to work through here when we're talking about this whole cape piece. And whether the cape is your job, expectations from your family, your community involvement or community activities. I'm speaking from what I know, not what I guess, not just what I've observed. So between women that I know who have gone through this and myself, I know I have a wealth of content and resources to back up what I'm about to say here. All right. The first thing is when the cape, the cape gets torn, right? So something's going awry work wise, or in the family, or in your community, whatever it is. Hello, just with yourself. And so you've got to do something about it. So there's three different ways we're going to say about it. Number one, The cape needs repairing. Well, everyone knows that Superwoman, Superman, like the cape is part of the persona, right? And God forbid you have to take the cape off because that may mean that you're not, quote, as powerful as you once were. Now, that's only if you buy into all of that hogwash. Because the reality is, we all come into situations, things come up unexpectedly. Even the best laid plans can go awry. And when that happens, it's not a bad thing to say, you know what, I have to step back because I got to go fix this. Right? I got to go take this off and I need to do a little assessment and figure out what's going on and what needs to be, what to do next. Okay. And that's what I call the, cape needs repairing. It requires you taking it off. You cannot fix it while you are wearing it. You cannot fix what's going on in your personal space while you are, or your professional space, whatever space it is, while you are smack dab in the middle of it. Okay. Those are nice technical terms, by the way. All right. So here's the thing. When that happens, when you need to adjust and when you need to do a repair, it doesn't mean that you're walking away, right? I mean, most people cannot afford to, quote, walk away from their job just because they're like, I need to do a quick fix. I need to do an assessment. It means, though, that you do take the time to do an assessment. Anyone who knows me, if you've done any of my trainings, you know I'm a huge, huge fan of taking time to reflect, of engaging actively in reflection time. Reflection time that is forced by an emergency or a crisis is not really good reflection time. So you really want to try to engage in that before you get to a crisis or urgent matter. So what would that look like? Well, even if it's once a week or once a day, you do whatever works for you, but where you have to step back and actually do a little assessment of, hey, there's some things that are not quite right here. I'm not sure what. So I'm going to set aside some time to actually think actively about it while I'm not yet in response mode. Because once you're in response mode, you can forget it. It is not going to be a good decision, but and it's not going to probably be the same decision that you would make had you had time or taken time to engage in some reflection and some thought. Okay? So that's really the first point is the cape needs a repair. You have to take it off and it's okay to go step back, whether that's, saying, you know what, I'm going to go disappear for an hour or two, go take a quiet lunch by myself, whether it means you're going to go get a massage or you're going to go take a walk, a long walk or a run in the park, whatever you need to do to clear your head so that you can think more objectively about the situation, about what's going on, and how you want to approach it moving forward. Okay? Repairs are great. It's necessary. And then you can get back in and you can decide if you're going to wear that cape another day. That's up to you. All right? That's your decision to make. All right? So that's the first one. The second one is, here's the reality. Wearing a torn cape can be detrimental. What does that mean? This means you are not taking the time to step away and reflect, to step away and do the assessment. So you're going to keep going. And when you keep going, that can be harmful to you, to your work, to the community work you're doing, to your family. It can take on any number of things that can negatively impact how you interact, what decisions you're making, because you haven't taken that time that we talked about with point one. When you notice it needs a repair, right? But when it's torn and you're like, I'm just going to keep going. So what does that look like when you, quote, just keep going? Well, that's I'm really tired, and I've only had 4 hours of sleep, but this report really needs to be done, right? Or I'm really tired. I need a break. I need some fresh air, but I'm going to get on this call anyways. I'm not going to reschedule it. Okay? When you keep pushing without taking the reflection and the assessment time, and you just keep going, even though you recognize that there's a tear in the cape, that can be harmful. And in what ways? Well, sleep deprivation leads to a whole host of things, right? You got brain fog, your body rebels against you, you get sick. Those are some of the worst ones. Trust me, I've been there, done that. All right. You get brain fog, you can't operate at your full capacity. You get sick, you're absolutely not operating at full capacity then, and your body just says, "Well, I'll fix this problem for you and I'm just going to shut it down." Or you miss a deadline unexpectedly. That deadline you were working towards that you thought was 5 p.m. turns out it was 12 noon, and you missed the shift because you didn't take the time to like chill out, beating into it, right? That's happened before. Nothing like working hard on a project or something and only to learn that all that hard work is for naught because you missed something as simple as a 1 hour time difference. It was 4 p.m. instead of 5 p.m. or whatever it might be. The wrong date on the calendar. That happens a lot when you're tired, right? Things get scheduled on the wrong day. Okay. You miss an important date or an engagement for one of your kids. You're right. You miss an activity. We know how valuable that time is right now, especially with things being so nuts. So, what does that look like? There's something regarding the community board that you're involved in, and something you were supposed to take responsibility for because you stepped up and said you would do it, but you didn't realize it conflicts directly with a piece of work that you have to do for your job or for your business, right? All of these things can build on themselves and ultimately be harmful to you by either affecting you negatively, mentally and emotionally, of course. Your body rejects you. Your body says, I'm done. You lose some trust. You lose some credibility in your workspace because you're missing deadlines or whatever, or you're looking like you're not fully engaged. All of these things, right? This is not to build guilt or to stack issues on top. This is the reality of, guess what? Yes, I acknowledge that I've been trying to be Superwoman for too long, but I needed to step back and I didn't. And this is a result of that. Okay. So it's about accountability, about self accountability. And sometimes we may need some support in that. So you can get that from an accountability partner in the person of a really good friend, a colleague, a coach, whatever. Okay. But it's a matter of taking note of those things and addressing it before you reach this point where you've been wearing this torn cape and now you're in harm's way in some way. Okay. Then there's the third point. Here's the third thing. When Superwoman's cape gets torn, you can go fix it. You can keep wearing it, which is dangerous, can cause some harm, or you can just replace the cape. This is probably the one that causes most people the greatest distress because it means you've gotten to a point of you recognize there's an issue, there's a problem that needs to be fixed or resolved, and you realize that a quick repair is not going to do it. That you can't keep wearing it because it's going to cause you some harm. So that means it's time to move on, whether that's a job, whether that's a family matter that you need to let go of, whether that's a community service obligation that you need to release, any one of those things. But what it means is it's time to go. And you wearing that cape, wearing that responsibility, wearing that obligation, it's like, you know what? I can't do it anymore. I shouldn't do it anymore. We start getting into issues of worth versus value, right? And so this is one of those spaces where we struggle the most. We really do. I know I have. I don't know about some of you, but I know I have in the past when it's like, you know what? Either I take it off and let it go, or I'm going to have a serious price to pay down the road that other people can't fix. I'm the only one that can fix it. And so, it's a tough thing. It can be challenging, but it's not impossible, right? Making tough decisions, we can do that. Superwomen are really good at that. But what we're normally not good at is making tough decisions that actually support us in the long term. We have to get better about making those decisions that are supportive to us, that are supportive to us as people, as individuals, as mothers, as sisters, as daughters, as wives, as ourselves. And when we do that, that is actually way more empowering than any of those things we've been talking about. When you can step into that power and be like, you know what? It's time to go. It's time to move on. I've tried to make a repair. I've tried to step away so that I wouldn't, hurt myself walking on this torn cape. But now it's just plain time for it to be done. And that can be extremely powerful. I didn't say it could be easy, that it would be easy, but it's extremely powerful and helpful to your growth long term, both personally and professionally. All right. Okay. That's enough with that analogy. So I want you to think about it. Where are you? If you're identifying as one of these super women, where are you? What's your cape look like? Is it in good repair? Is it in good, is it in good shape? Or does it need a repair? What's the problem that's causing you? What's putting you in harm's way, if anything? Or is it just time to say, you know what, it's time to take this off and keep going and move on to another thing? Retire the cape. That's always an option. Okay? All right. I'd love to hear from you about this. I know there's lots of thoughts and things that can be had. But it's a reality of acknowledging that when you are ambitious, when you are goal oriented, there's nothing wrong with that. It's about your awareness while you're engaging at that level and what it is you want to continue to do, setting those boundaries, acknowledging when they've been crossed, and taking action in a way that's empowering for you. That is the key. All right. It's been fantastic. I hope you enjoy. Let me know what your thoughts are, and I'll be checking in with you on the comments. All right. Talk to you soon. Bye.